What's up guys, Julian here today. My voice is back and I'm going to be showing you how to make a full future garage track from scratch. We're going to be talking about every single element, and not just that, but also how to arrange it and how to really make the track work more than just an 8-bar loop. As usual, you can get this full track template, literally a fully arranged, super awesome track in this style. It's available at the top of the description on my website. The whole template, samples, MIDI, presets, and the project file. It's all right there. Thank you so much for the support, guys. You know, it's really about creating these extremely high quality templates that you guys can take and learn from and make the best tracks of your life. Definitely go grab that so you can make your best tracks. Link at the top of the description, and let's dive in. Alright, so we've got this whole project file here, and when I start a track like this, like if you're starting from scratch, I always start with these 3 elements. So it would be just the basic respace and then the kick and snare groove. So I usually start with the bass. This is going to sort of have the chord progression, right? So what we're doing here is the chords are F sharp minor, E major, B minor, and then D major. So if you're looking at this musically, we're in the key of F sharp minor, and it would be the root note, the major or the minor 7th, the 4th, and then the 6th, right? And so we're defining that chord progression with the bass line. And that's why I like to start with that, because you can kind of set, you know, all this other stuff, like, you know, it's all working off of that progression. So you want to start with that. And then for the sound, this is made with Wavetable. It's 2 layers. It's this one, which is like this big unison super saw. And then this one, which is a saw wave without the unison, so you kind of get more definition out of it. And then we have both of those, the frequency of the filter mapped to this one macro. So we're moving that throughout the track. But other than that, it's a pretty simple synth patch. You know, just a little bit of amp being blended. And then we're actually cutting out the lows and doing a little bit of automation too. But mostly just cutting the sub-frequencies that we get in the way of the master and stuff like that. So again, once you have that, you actually have like a lot of what you're hearing is kind of sitting on that. And then we move up to the kick and snare groove, right? Just kind of getting this basic groove happening. So with the kick and snare, I kind of treat those as one thing. Like it's really that call from the kick and then the response from the snare with this style. So the kick, we just got this big, fat, like almost like a techno kick. Right? It's like a very bouncy groove. And then the snare is 2 layers. It's this one. And then this one. So, yeah, you can hear just getting a ton of punch out of that. Once I have those, I always move up to the rest of the percussion. So that starts here, kind of with like the main hi-hat. So that would be this. You can hear, you know, it's pretty short, but if you played it with the kick and snare, you get a really nice groove, right? So you don't always want like a big, fat, long hi-hat. I think something shorter can really give you the groove that you want in these types of tracks. You can see that pretty much goes the whole way through, with a few parts of cutting out, you know, to make it a bit more dynamic. We'll talk about that in a moment. I have a ride cymbal too. Just for the arrangement, you know, in some of those places, we have this little, this is like a snare for the outro. It's like this little drum rack with some break chops. I have this hi-hat, which also automates here. We have like a grain delay, kind of making this into a transition. Kind of of a nice way to use one of the main elements of the track to be like some effects rather than adding in like a big effect sample, right? We have these. So it's like this old garage percussion. Like this is from some super old source. Like I'm pretty sure I got these off of Reddit like a very long time ago. And basically it's just, we're just taking those and filtering them a bit and then distorting them. But it creates this real nice percussion underneath all of that. We've also got a few drum racks here. You can hear those just adding, like if I put those with the hi-hat and the snare. You can hear what that does. And then we have this break, which has a bunch of motions. You can see it's basically just this break beat being filtered with an LFO on this low pass here. That's doing quarter notes, so you get it like opening. And then we're distorting it and sidechaining it to the kick and snare, and you can see it just adds a really nice. So yeah, I'm also doing a bit of that down here. So these are like these break chops which just come in some of the track, right? But it's a nice arrangement tool to just have this. And all it is it's a bunch of these little break chops. Like I just took little pieces and kind of made one whole break out of them. And then just a high pass, there's a low pass that automates on for some of this in the beginning to kind of make the two parts different. Then on the whole drum group, we have a little bit of drum bus. And when I say a little, I mean it's at like 7%. Without it. With it, it's very subtle, but it just gives you a little boost. We have this delay here, which just comes in at this part. Kind of makes it disappear. Some filtering, automation. And then we move up to the lead. So yeah, the way this is working is it's kind of simple actually. If you look at it, it's really just following the chord progression. The same exact one I showed you with the bass line, like those same root notes and even the same top notes pretty much, because like if you look at this, okay, so this will be an F sharp minor chord and we're just using the minor third there. Then here, when that goes to that E major, okay, there's the major third of that. That would be, in this case, for this chord, the minor third, but in F sharp, not the minor third, right? So, like, it's really just using, like, pretty basic voices from these chords, but then creating that rhythm with it. It's really how that grooves. And that's what took most of the time with this, was just kind of dialing that in. You know, you have to try a lot of different placements for the notes and little grooves here and there before you find what's really going to work in your track. Here, it's just following this new progression where we're going 6th, minor 7th, root note again. For the actual sound, it's made with analogs. So we got one oscillator here, just a saw wave. There's a bit of automation because there's one part where I just had to go up an octave, you know, to kind of make it feel fresh. With something like this, when it's going all the way through the track, it can help to do something like that. We have a ton of filter automation too. You can see it's pretty much not in the same place twice. And we got a bit of an envelope and some key tracking on that. We got a bit of vibrato, like a lot of vibrato, but actually I'm using this new thing I discovered in here, where it's basically like putting some attack on that. So you kind of get this like evolving vibrato. Plus we got some glide on there, a bit of chorus, echo, pedal, and saturator. So here's without those. Pedal, and saturator. You can see the push that's adding. We got a high pass filter. There's also this auto pan which kind of does like 16th notes and comes in during the break there. Then we have this first pad. So this is one of those pads that's not really following the chord progression, but it plays over it nicely. So yeah, and it's simple because what we're using here is just basic notes from F sharp minor. That's the key we're in, right? Like you can see. So we have a fifth and a minor third. There's a root, a ninth, another root note, another minor third, another fifth, a sixth. You know, it's all notes that are just going to fit over that progression, even if it's not exactly following them. And that gives you a nice contrast in your track. This is made with Operator. It's a square wave pad with, a bit of FM coming in here. We got some echo, some reverb, low pass, which automates it throughout the track. And another thing with this, you'll notice it disappears right before that second drop, and it never comes back. So it's kind of like you have something here that's just in the intro, and then you don't hear it for the rest of the track. And it lets you know, like, this is, it makes each part different. We have a high pass filter. Then we have this pad. So this is a really simple pad. It's just like this one note kind of glide thing here where it's like F sharp gliding to E and then C sharp gliding to F sharp. What makes this one interesting is kind of what's happening with the gate. So this is a simple FM sound. Like if I just play it dry. It's like that. We have a bit of glide inside of Operator here. The voices are set to 1, and then, it's gliding, so that's how you get that kind of sound. Then we have a bit of chorus, and then we have this gate. So we're sidechaining this to this Operator down here. So it's this that pattern. And you can see if you gate sidechain that, you get this nice kind of like moving thing, and that goes really well with the drums too. So we're doing that, then we have a bit of reverb, and then a low pass filter, which you can see is never in the same place twice. It just moves this throughout the track. And then we have the last pad. So this is following the same progression I've already shown you a few times. Even when it changes here, it's that same one I showed you a second ago where it was walking just up the 6th and then the 7th and then the root note. But yeah, it's just like a pretty simple progression. And then for the actual sound, it's this Operator pad where, you can see it's a sine wave and then a square wave and a few other sine waves doing some FM. So you get that nice, like airy kind of sound that's still not too in your face. We have a bit of chorus. We're doing that same gate sidechain that I showed you before. Delay, high pass filter, and then there's a low pass which moves it throughout the track. I can see in different parts it's like more open and less open so that it can kind of let other things shine. And then the last like synth that we have here is this ambient melody up here. So what's happening is this melody up here is do na 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 na, and then when I'm doing, so I'm bouncing down to these root notes here, and those are following the chord progression. If you look, it's A sharp, E, B, D, right? So we got that, and then it's just this droning melody up top with a lot of rhythm to it that fits really well over the other stuff in the track. Then for the actual sound, it's made with Operator. It's this kind of like FM sine wave thing with a bit of a low pass with an envelope on it. We have some reverb, low pass, which just moves it around throughout the track, high pass filter. Then we have the vocals, which there's quite a bit in here. So you can hear it's just a lot of these nice, beautiful vocals with like a lot of reverb and delay on them to just make them this like big wash of melodic ambience, so to speak. So you get these like great moments. Right, and that's just by having a nice vocal that's right in key, that's going to fit really well. And then putting it, also, you notice it doesn't hit right on the downbeat. It'll be like a little bit before, so you kind of get like that. Instead of just putting it right. Same, especially with these, like having this one right before the drop. On the group, we just have a high pass, little bit of a low pass, which makes these all kind of appear and disappear in the beginning and the end of the track. Then we just have the effects, so it's again just like a bunch of transitions, really, but like keeping it simple, just little stuff. But this stuff can really carry the track along for sure. I think it's good to have a few of these without it being too many. We have a bit of atmospheric kind of vinyl noise. And there we are. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full track template. It's extremely high quality, fully arranged track template with every single element. It's available at the top of the description. I'm telling you guys, I wish there was something like this. When I was trying to learn this style of music back in the day, I'm really all about just creating these really great templates at an accessible price that you guys can get your tracks to the next level, get access to something that really sounds like what you want. Again, link is at the top of the description. Definitely go grab that. Do yourself a favor. Take your tracks to the next level. This is the best thing you can do right now to make the best track of your life. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Enjoy, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.